Okay, Tammy, here's a recap of kind of the how far you've come. So again, here's your before technique. If we take this through impact, we can see kind of what's going on. What we really want is as you're coming through impact, we want this weight to shift. So we're going to put a line right on his left hip. We want this weight to shift to the left side. So you see the weight shift. So now that the left hip is over here, and then this he's able to do that because this left wrist is curling. And if we take a look, we're going to put a line right on your left hip. So we're going to take a just at the top of the backswing. Go here's your left hip, but then when you were in your old technique, so your weight would start to go backwards. So you would actually what's called reverse weight shift. So now you're all the way back here, hitting off your back foot, and a lot of that was because of what your hands were doing through impact. You were trying to close this club face by this right hand pushing, and you get this what's called a breakdown in your left wrist. So the left wrist isn't curling, it's bending back through impact, extension, and we really want the opposite. We want this left wrist curling through impact, so that way we can close the club face while the hands are leading the club head through impact. And you can see when you do that, the arms extend away from the body, but when you don't do that, the arms pull up into the body and you can't swing out towards the golf ball. So you have to pull the arms in. Okay, so that was just kind of one of the biggest things is getting your wrists working correctly. And it doesn't matter whether it's this golfer Tony Finau. It doesn't matter if it's Tiger Woods. We want this weight to shift, and you'll see how big of improvement you made. But you want the weight to shift. So there's the weight now shifting onto his left foot, and then he does this by the hands closing this club face while the hands get to lead the club head through impact. And so now we have this extension of the arms where in before, we're going to put a line right on your left hip again. And then before your weight would go way backwards. So now you're way back off your left foot or on your off your left foot and onto your right foot because that right hand was pushing underneath. So we can see this right hand pushing this big bend back in this left wrist. Here we want to see get the wrist working correctly. This is something that we really worked on hard, that left wrist curling, that right wrist bending back, the left wrist continuing to curl, and the right wrist bending back. Okay, let's take a look at your after technique. Now, it's been a lot of work, but we got you to a better... Now, this is, a few weeks ago because Dana was working with us also. Perfect takeaway here, cross your toe line to the right. The hands stay out in front, then they come back and down. But then you can curl this left wrist out through the golf ball. So we're going to see this left wrist start to curl a little bit better. That left wrist is curling. And then what happens is when you curl the left wrist and then that left hand gets underneath, now the arms can start extending away from you. You can see the extension here. Now, eventually we'll get this, the other thing we're working on is getting that weight to shift, not spin around your body, but get the weight to shift to the left side. So we're just going to try to keep the left hip forward, that right hip back, that left shoulder forward, the right shoulder back as much as we can as you drive your left hip to the target. But still just a little bit of work to do in getting that weight to shift over to the left side. We're still just kind of hitting off that right side. But you're going to see that that improves quite a bit here. So there you go. So now after you hit the golf ball, your left hip is going to go to the left, and you're going to get that. There you go. So the weight gets over to your left side. Okay, so now we're going to get on. Now we get some swings. Here we're still working on it. We're trying to keep this stick that's on your lower back, keep that pointed out to the right as much as you can. And then as you swing, so see how it's pointed to the left, which is fine. We just don't want it pointed a lot to the left. We're just going to try as hard as you can to keep your hips and your shoulders pointed to the right. So huge improvement here. There you go. Now you're getting some control of your hips. Now we get you out on the number 17, out on Carlton Oaks. And here we're trying the same thing. I've got this piece of wood here, trying to get you to swing out to the right. And we're going to try to keep your hips and your shoulders, your right hip and your right shoulder pulled back so you can swing out to the right and curl this left wrist and roll the forearms over. So you're getting better. So the hands come back, like if there's a table here, the hands come back and down. You start to lose this angle a little bit here. So here, try to keep that club shaft straight up and down as you come back and down to the table. But that's okay. But a huge improvement from before to after. So if we take a look, we'll actually compare before to after. But this one we want to kind of take a look at here. This is going to be important. So perfect takeaway, cross your toe line to the right. This is the most important thing, is that first move. Just check it. Okay, then from there we can go. And then now the hands come back and down. And then you can swing out through the golf ball. And then now we're starting to get, there you go. So now you can start to see what we're shooting for, this left wrist curling through impact. There you go, no left wrist breakdown. Now we kind of have a little bit of more forearm roll, but that's okay. And then when you do that, we can see now the similarity here and here. Your arm swinging out to the down and out through the golf ball, that right shoulder driving back and down into the chin. And also if we take a look, we can see, because we got the hands better, now we can see this left hip driving to the left, not spinning around your body behind you. Good. So now your weight is shifted over to the left side and you're hitting off now that left foot. You've shifted your weight over to the left side. There you go. Weight on the left foot, weight on the left foot, right shoulder driving back and under the chin so you can swing out through the golf ball. There you go. Huge improvement. Okay, so now let's take a look. Now this was just, I think, a couple weeks ago, and this was just from yesterday. So now we can take a look from behind down the line. So now we want to let this club face rotate open in the backswing, so we can see this club face rotating open here. So if we zoom in here, we can see how this club face is opened up to face the sky here. So the back of the left hand is pointed up to the sky and the club face is open up to face the sky. Well, in your old swing, because you didn't know how to close the club face on the way through, you would keep the club face closed in the backswing. So you can see this club face pointed down to the ground instead of pointed up to the sky. So we got to let that club face open. It doesn't matter whether it's Charles Howell III or whether we take Justin Thomas. You can see he's going to actually look back here and he's going to check and make sure that this club face is rotated open. So you were keeping the club face closed and it was really making it hard to close the club face on the way through. So you kind of ended up having to push with your right hand. And so here's another swing and this club face is just staying closed in the backswing. So we got to let it rotate open in the backswing so then it can close in the through swing. So it doesn't matter whether it's that swing, whether it's this swing. You can see this club face really rotating open. Now the hands are staying out in front of the golfer, but the club face is rotating open to the inside. So you can see this club face really rotating open instead of staying closed. So that was something we made a huge change in. But also in the transition at the top of your swing, we worked on, and we did, when we get the hands up to the top, we want the hands to go from here. We want to go back and down. So we really want the hands to go back and down. Pull back and down. The only way we can do that is keep this right shoulder back behind us and let the right shoulder turn back and under the chin. So you can see these shoulders are turning on this plane where we keep this right shoulder back and it goes under the chin. Before, your old swing, you would take it back and then you'd come over the top. And we can see these hands. We're going to put a dot right on the hands here, and then they shoot over the top, and then they try to chop down and across the ball because that club face was staying open through impact, and we had some contact issues. It doesn't matter what that swing, or if we take this swing, we'll put a dot right here, and then we can see the path of the hands on the way down. They were actually going the other way over the top. Makes it very hard to swing from in to out because now you're swinging across the ball to the left, which you kind of had to do because the club face was staying open. But it led to a lot of club head ball issues, contact issues. But whether it's this golfer, whether it's Bryson DeChambeau, it's going to be all the same. And you can see he does it even with small swings. Those hands are going to circle back and down. So see how the hands go back and down. And he does it with small swings, with big swings. If you know what to look for, you know that we're going to be able to see the rerouting of the hands from the backswing to the downswing. Okay, so now they're back here, and then he can swing out through the golf ball, and that helps that left wrist curl through impact and close that club face. So it doesn't matter what shot he's hitting. If you know what to look for, you can see these hands go from here to then all the way back. Now they're all the way back here. Here they were on the way on the way back, and here they are on the way down, all the way back here. So he's really pulling the hands back and down. It doesn't matter whether it's him, whether it's Bernard Longer. We can see the hands transition back. They go back and down instead of the over the top. From here, okay, so now we know what to change. So we're going to put a dot right on the hands there, so you can see the hands are now they're back here. So we really needed to exaggerate this in order to get the hands to go to reverse what the way you were swinging before. You can see the hands go from it doesn't matter whether it's an iron or a driver. They go back and then they go down. So now the hands are back here, so the golfer can swing out through the golf ball. And if we take a look at this golfer teeing off at number 1, actually at Torrey Pines, you can see the logo of the Farmers Insurance Open. So if we take a look, here's the hands on the way back, and then here the hands on the way down. So see how they transition, he pulls them back, and then they go down. So we'll put a dot right there, but here they are on the backswing. So they're out here on the backswing, and then they pull back and down on the downswing so that he can swing out through the golf ball. So same thing, whether it's Tiger Woods, it doesn't matter. The path the hands on the way down are inside the path that they were on the way back. So there's the path of the hands on the way down. He's pulling the hands back and down so he can swing out through the golf ball. So it doesn't matter, all the same. And if we take a look at some female golfers, we can see they do this for a warm-up, and they actually kind of make it work into their swing when they get up to the golf ball. So the hands are going to go back and down. They go back and then they go down. So the hands go back, pull back and down. So you kind of think if I was holding this table here, she's going to swing and then pull the hands back and down to the table. So see how the hands go back and down to the table, so then she can swing out through the golf ball. And then she gets over the golf ball, and then she's going to, if I was holding this table here, the hands are going to go from here, and then she's going to pull the hands back down to the table. See how she pulls them back and down to the table, and then that lets her swing out through the golf ball. So it doesn't matter whether it's Michelle Wie, the hands are going to go from here, and then they pull back and down. So see how she pulls her hands back and down, not over the top. Okay, so let's take a look at your new swing. Okay, so here we go. This is from yesterday. We got you out on the course. This first move, we're going to keep the hands out in front of you, let the club head rotate in, and we're going to cross here's your toe line. Now here we got you aimed a little bit too far to the right. So of all the things I'm keeping an eye on, I just didn't keep an eye on this, and we got you aimed a little bit too far out to the right, but that's okay. So your toe line would be here. Here's a alignment stick. Your toe line would be here. We want to cross your toe line to the right with the club face open to face the sky. So here we're working on there you go. And then hands stay out in front. They go back and down to the table. There you go. Okay, now you swing out through the golf ball. Much better. Okay, that's it. Cross your toe line to the right, back and down to the table. Yes, and then they swing out through the golf ball. So then your hands are now swinging. You're pulling your hands back, then down first, down, and then they come. Now this club shaft starts to fall back a little bit behind you too soon. So try to feel that club shaft stay straight up and down as you pull the butt end of this club down to this table, then you can swing out. But you have to do this first. It has to go back, down, then out. But this one you hit solid. This one goes taken off. Good swing. But you can see how your hips start to spin to the left here. There's a little bit of the old swing here. We got to keep this right hip back and that right shoulder back, and then the left shoulder and the left hip forward. Just try to keep your hips aimed to the right as much as possible, because when you're swinging, you tend to spin around you to the left, and that's going to screw up a lot of things. So if we take a look, the hands stay out in front. Good. Cross your toe line to the left. Okay, there goes the golf ball. All right, so now we're going to hit our approach shot. I'm going to actually put a table right here for practice. Come down to that's it. Perfect. Now this one you swing, you don't spin around too much. You curl your left wrist and roll the forearms over, and you hit ground here. So we're going to see you take a little bit of a divot. That's good. That left hip is pulling out of the way here, so a little bit too much. When that left shoulder and that left hip pulls out of the way, it makes it really hard to get to the golf ball. But you're doing better here, not spinning out. You're trying to keep your hips and shoulders aimed to the right. Okay, so here we go. So now we're going to get ready for this one. Get the setup. Shove that right hand underneath. Left hand on top. Good. You're right. Keeping that right shoulder back. Okay, remember, the table's here. Back down to the table. Okay, then there you go. Onto the ball, onto the green. All right, good shot. Okay, so now we're going to go finish it up,
Nice.
but it's because you pulled back and down to the table. Okay, now we're going to see,
Let's see.
we'll let this play out here so you can see what we're working on.
This looks like what, maybe 3 feet in front of the hole. It starts to go downhill because it goes up and then maybe down.
Yeah.
Do you think it look like it's?
Higher on the right than it does on the left.
So it look like it's gonna break that way or this way?
It'll break that way.
This way.
So there's a
So
hill
I should
over
play
here.
about one foot to the right.
There's a hill over here that makes it look like it's going to break
Okay.
to the left, but it actually doesn't. This actually goes to the right. Okay,
Tough part is there's a hill here,
so we have to aim about
so it makes
here.
you think that it's pushing, but it's not really.
Yeah. So the
So
high
it's
part of
just
the
a
green
little
is
bit of
right
a
about here,
Optical
and then
illusion.
it kind of falls off
So
down
it's
to the
gonna be a
right.
straight putt.
Okay, so we're gonna
It
we're
goes
gonna
to
have
the
you hit a
right
couple putts here.
couple inches.
We've got about a 20,
So here's our
25,
goal.
20,
Gotta
25
get
foot
this
putt.
Between 1 and 2 feet past the hole, can't be short of the hole.
All right.
Hold on,
Okay, so 20, 25
here's-
foot putt. We've got about a
here's
10,
there.
11-inch backstroke.
just short of my foot, pull through and hold. That's
Okay,
it.
there's our practice
Yep,
stroke. There
good.
you go, touching the inside of your left forearm on the finish.
Just short
Okay,
of my
here's
foot,
your first
pull through
putt.
and hold.
Perfect, keeping your head down.
Uh-oh. Oh, good
Oh,
putt.
almost made it.
Good putt.
Okay,
Let's
good.
see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that 2 times in a row. Let's see if we can be consistent with that.
Okay.
Okay, set up to that golf ball.
Now we've done a lot of work at keeping your head still, keeping your body still, keeping your
Hold on.
weight. 60% starts on your left
Practice
foot and,
stroke.
and
So here's our
stays
backstroke.
there.
So it's just gonna be
Good, a
short
little
of my
bit
foot, pull
more.
through and hold.
Good, heads down,
good.
holding it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm making sure you only take about a 10 or 11-inch backstroke.
Just short of my foot, pull through and hold. Yep. All right, 2 good putts in a row. All right.
Okay, good putts.
Solid. You could make either one
So
of these.
now,
Hold on, quick. Let's say the second one. How far is that from the hole? 3 feet? How many?
2 feet.
All right, we'll even say it's 2. What's your backstroke? What's half of 2?
1.
Okay, let's come over here.
see, always
just
thinking
put
about
to
the
the hole.
next shot. We got to have a 1 to 2-inch backstroke, not a long backstroke, because we don't want to. We need to make this putt. We can't just knock it way by the hole. So here we go. So this one we want
Might
you
give you
to
maybe 2 inches. But it
2-inch
doesn't need to be
backstroke.
4 or 5. We're just going to hold that touching.
this?
That's
Hold
it,
it
just
touching
short
at
of
the
my foot.
end.
That's it.
Remember-
Short. There you go. And hold that touching the inside of your left forearm.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
okay
that's
there.
It.
We're gonna hit another one. We're
That
gonna
would
make
have
another
a
one.
little bit of too much pace on it. Like, you had a little bit of right hand push.
Yeah, a little bit of right hand push. We're gonna get the right hand out of here and
That
get
has
that.
to touch at the end. Hold on. Okay. Short of my foot. Pull through and make that touch.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's
Good.
it. That
That's
one you
it.
didn't push.
So see how you.
Okay, good work, and we'll just keep improving.